Hi, my name is Chuck Sutton. I'm here with iZotope, and today I'm going to show you 5 quick ways you can transform your voice into great sounding samples for any type of modern instrumental. Not only are these techniques really fun to do, but they guarantee you samples you trust no matter whose computer or studio you're using, thanks to iZotope's Nectar 3, Trash 2, and RX-8. Once again, all made out of my voice, this is what the final result sounds like. To set up our voice, we're just going to open up a new audio track and drag on Nectar 3. We can turn off the compressor and the EQ for now, we're just going to focus on the pitch. So I'm going to activate the correction and go down to the scale and set it to C major. So right now I'm going to record an ooh, ah, a T sound, and a K sound. That's all we need. The goofier you feel while recording this, the better the results will be. Trust me. Ooh, ah, and now we can get into the fun stuff. For the sub and kick, we're just going to focus on the ooh sample by bringing up Nectar and going to the EQ tab. Because these are the bassy elements, we don't really want any high frequencies, so we're going to use a flat low pass shelf. And by bringing it down, we have a much cleaner sound to work with. Our next step is freezing our sample with the effects on. That way, when we make a new audio track and drag it over, it's still low pass and pitch corrected. I'm going to open up a sampler, and now we can start designing the volume for our 808. By bringing down the sustain, we're getting it to be pluckier. And by bringing it down a couple octaves, you can hear that it's getting really bassy. This is where Trash 2 is going to save us a lot of time. After checking out different presets, I came across one called Soft Taco, and it's a one-click difference. By turning down the sampler volume and then messing with the built-in filter with Trash 2, low passing it gave me a much warmer 808. So this is how my voice sounds with no plugins. Ooh. And this is just Nectar and Trash 2. What's even crazier to me is that this is pretty much a carbon copy of the sub I showed you in the intro. To make the kick, we're going to duplicate our bass MIDI track, head back to Trash 2, and then hit reset so no distortion is being applied. To turn a smooth sine wave into a powerful kick, all we're going to need is to mess with the pitch envelope. Listen to what happens when I turn up the pitch amount. That's how it sounds on middle C, so when I bring it back down to C0, it's bassier but lacking power, which can easily be changed by liking this video, subscribing, and hitting the bell to support this channel. Or you could open up Trash 2 and go to the Blues Driver preset, which is honestly one of my favorites. I made the attack a little sharper and then threw on an EQ, and then just experimented until the top end felt punchier. And here's what the new kick sounds like. For the ah sound, we don't really want a low pass filter on it, so we're going to lift it back up. Just like that. Once again, I'm going to freeze it, bring it into a sampler. This is the MIDI I actually already had prepared from the original idea. After playing with the release time, this is what we have. So after your chords are down, freeze your MIDI and convert it into audio. This will allow us to edit our chord progression in RX-8. And oh my goodness, this is so fun. Just make sure RX-8 is your sample editor in your DAW. So now I'm going to double click on this audio and hit the edit button, and we're presented with this really cool diagram. This is actually what your sound looks like. Every iZotope plugin has a function called Show Tooltips, and I'm going to activate mine right now to show you the names of all the buttons we're going to be using, which sounds daunting, but we're actually only using 4. We have the frequency selector tool, the time and frequency, the time selection, and then we have the normal playhead, but then we have the frequency playhead. So check this out. Mainly, I'm going to use the time and frequency selector, just drag across, just like a photo editing software, and now when I hit the frequency play button, we're only hearing the low end. So the fun part now is you just get to go around and select random frequencies from your voice and you get something new every time. So I'm holding down Shift to select boxes, and then I'm holding down Option or Alt to deselect boxes. And I'm just going around listening to notes, seeing what I like, and this is what I came up with. Whenever you're done, just go to Edit Copy, and then File New from Clipboard, and you'll make a new file with only the frequencies you selected. Now our last step here is to just save it, name it something we can remember, and then pull it back up in our DAW. This is before. And after noticing that the new sample was a little too sharp, I fine-tuned it down 30 cents, and this is what it sounds like next to the original chords. For the hi-hat, we're going to start with our T sound. Now back in Nectar's EQ, we're going to do three things. Make sure that there's no unnecessary lows, make sure there's no unnecessary highs, and using any peaks we can to emphasize what's giving our sound character. For sound design reference, I went ahead and I got a normal hi-hat sample off my computer. The best thing you can do in this scenario is take a sound you do trust, take a sound you want to trust, and compare them. So this is an EQ curve out of a sound I do trust. Now I'm going to head back to my T sound, shape it a little bit more like a hi-hat, and then throw it back in the same EQ. It sounded like it was working, but I wanted to make sure it was tailored specifically for our new sound, so I did a little bit of modification. I'm going to give you 3 seconds to guess what I added next. I put Trash 2 on my sound, I'm messing around, none of these presets were working, I was giving up hope, and then I found one. It always happens. It's called Garage. Once again, I used the filter in Trash. It was perfect for high passing. Brought out an extra EQ, because sometimes distortion adds some lows, wanted to high pass those. Just like other samples, I froze it, threw it into a sampler, messed around with the pitch, and this is the final hi-hat. Now we're down to the K sound for our snare or rim shot. I actually didn't want to use Nectar on this one, so I dragged it straight into a sampler without freezing. Similar to a hi-hat, I wanted to low pass, high pass, and resonate. There's actually a filter that does all three of those things, called a bandpass filter, and it's built into my sampler. So I went down to the shapes, chose a bandpass, and it actually looks very similar to the EQ you just saw on screen. These were the frequencies I wanted, but trash. Again, looking through presets, this was actually my favorite instance of how good the filter is, so I'm not going to skim past it. Check this out. Froze it, threw into a sampler, got the MIDI, and this is what it sounds like. Then I decided to throw on Nectar, mess around with some EQ, and then I used the compressor for the first time. I brought down the threshold a lot and I made the attack super fast. If you try this out on your own snare sounds, it feels very squashed. Then what I did is I used the mix function to do parallel compression, meaning you hear both the uncompressed and compressed signal coming through. In my snare sampler, I brought the sustain all the way down and then I automated the decay. That way, the first snare is a little shorter, the second one's a little longer. This is what it sounds like. Just because a sound is labeled as one thing doesn't mean it can't have more than one purpose. I know we just crafted a snare rim shot thing out of the K, but by pitching this up, it actually does sound like a good hi-hat. Even though it was completely unintentional, now I have a new varied pattern. So now that our track is pretty much done, we could get an engineer to, use decades of experience to bring this track to life. Or we could throw trash on the master. Only do this step if you A, have a really good understanding of how to make a clean mix, or B, you just want to have fun. Some of these presets were a little too much. Eventually, I found a preset called Little Popper. It sounded pretty nice. Very subtly had to use it, or else it'd be too overwhelming. But now, at this point, you can actually start to push the volume of some of your sounds to clip into the trash too. The kick is a great example. To finish everything off, I use one of the filters built into Trash that's a little more complicated than the other one I was using. And so in 10 minutes, from Tika, we brought in 3 plugins, Nectar 3, Trash 2, RX8, and this is what we have. Thank you so much for watching, and once again, you can download free trials of every product you saw here by going to iZotope.com. And please, tag me and iZotope in anything you create. I can't wait to see what you do with these awesome plugins. Have fun creating.